discuss about the init containers. So what are init containers basically, guys? So they are basically run before the main app runs. Okay, suppose I have a main application and now I am trying to run the init container. So init container wants to ensure that all the prerequisite needs to be completed. So either which kind of prerequisite, guys, I'm talking about? I'm talking about the config files are in place. Okay, any kind of JSON files we have deployed through third party app, any kind of template file which we can say in this case manifest. Okay, so these all terms which I'm speaking, this we'll discuss in our lab environment. But for now, we need to understand the basic flow. So before the app gets loaded, we need to ensure that this main app gets loaded. These are in place before the apps get loaded. Okay, so for this, why we use init containers? So basically, we wait for a database or service to becomes available, and we need to download the configuration or secrets from external service. As I told you, external service means any kind of a third party JSON files we have imported or any kind of like payment gateway I have in that case. So I will any kind of like Paytm or any kind of third party API I am deploying it, like Facebook API or any kind of application I have. So in that case, I can deploy those from external sources. So those scripts or initial scripts or temporary files we can initialize before the main app starts. So this is the process workflow, and it always runs before the normal containers get started. As you know, the hierarchy that a container after that pod will comes. So it will wait for the entire pod if any one of the init container fails. Suppose I am running my container in the init containers here, and it got fails. So this entire pod, this will get restarted. Okay, means I will try to see that in the short the main app gets started. So this is the lifecycle flow of init containers, guys, where we start the pod first, we run the init containers, then we ensure success, and then we run the main container. Now in between that, if any kind of like init container fails, then Kubernetes will start the entire pod. Now init containers run sequentially, not parallelly. What it means suppose I am running these two app in a two node cluster, and they want to tell that it runs sequentially, not in parallel. So whatever instructions comes in, it will perform it in sequence. Means it will do in step one, step two, in likewise in that format it will perform sequentially, step by step, and it will continue up till the step 10. N number of steps it will perform, not in parallel. Means parallel in that way means after first step it will complete, then it will go for second step. So like that it will not perform. It will perform this task in sequential. Means in this kind of method it will perform our containers. Okay, so means it will for example, we will take for one simple init container sample. This is the basic syntax where we define a name. It will wait for the db, then in the image is busy box they have taken. Now this is the command they are hitting: sh-c until nc nodes, then z db sleep, then 5432. This is the db port number they have, and sleep it for 2 seconds, then after done. So this init container waits for a database service to be reachable on port 5432 before allowing the main container to start. So this is the part on like first it will check for the database service, and the one it hits the port number which is 5432 in this our example, then it will call the main container app. Okay, and this main container then will be responsible for managing this to start. Now what are the differences between the regular containers as well as the init container? So init container runs before the main app, whereas app container does not, and init container runs once per pod. Okay, that's the app container does not, and init container can block pod startup. However, app container does not, and init container restarts separately, triggers pod restart, whereas app container starts, as I have told it, that restarts separately. So init container as follows the sequential step of line by line execution. So it will starts sequentially, means it will starts separately. It will restart the entire pod. which is in our application. Okay, so this is all about the summary of init containers, where we start runs before the main app in order to ensure that the properly scripts or any functions we have defined that gets loaded, scripts or any kind of configuration files that gets loaded before the main container starts. So stay connected guys for the next upcoming videos of Kubernetes practical. Thank you for watching.